Hello everyone and welcome to the Green Man channel. I hope you're doing good and well. So I'm following in the footsteps here of other YouTube channels that have been posting these sorts of videos recently. The likes of Sea and Tranquility, Pete Pardo, of course, Andy Edwards I think started this trend, and you've also had the Prog Corner as well posting their 10 favourite things ranked, or their 10 most hated things ranked, or both. So I'm going to be talking about my 10 favourite things here ranked, doing the positive video. I might do the negative video, the 10 things that I hate, although there is plenty of that to go around online already, so I may or may not do that depending on my mood perhaps. I'm going to talk here about 10 of my favourite things ranked, so from 10 to 1. And this is actually quite a tricky one to do in a way, because I think you love things for different reasons. It might be that some of these things are very important to me, or some of them are just, there's certain aspects about that thing that I really like. So it's kind of hard to actually rank those, I think, in a particular order, but that's what I'm doing for this video. We're getting closer to Christmas, we're getting into a bit more into the festive mood here, right? So it's nice to talk about the things we love, maybe to other people. And that's what I'm going to share with you guys right now for this video. So I'm going to start with number 10. Which is perhaps something that I think even my close friends and family wouldn't expect me to say as one of my favourite things, but it's my number 10 is actually dancing. But to be exact about this, it's dancing when I'm comfortable in my surroundings and my environment. Not necessarily even not talking necessarily drunk dancing, actually, it's just dancing generally. I think if you're comfortable with those around you and you know, you just want to have a good time and you just let loose, it's actually really sort of cathartic to dance with other people, whether they're strangers or friends or family, whoever it is. In the past, when I've been dancing, have actually been some of the most happier times in my life have been when I've been dancing with strangers or whoever it is. And sort of, you know, sharing a moment with a favourite song with somebody, whatever it is. Dancing is actually an extremely enjoyable experience, and you know, people sometimes will laugh at you rather than with you, but it's part of the experience. It's part of dancing, and you know, everyone should be able to enjoy dancing, whoever you are, whether or not you're a pro. I've actually been told in the past I have some rhythm about me, but the technical ability is a bit more lacking. So you know, I just like doing it. I think as long as I'm comfortable, I think in my surroundings, I really like to dance. Coming in at number 9 is travel, and you know, I think a lot of people, you know, boast about how many countries they've travelled to. I'm not really into doing that and to sort of you know, forcing onto others, oh yeah, I've travelled to all these different places, I'm awesome. I don't like that kind of attitude to travelling that a lot of people have. But I enjoy the experience of travelling, the unexpected, the adventure nature of it, finding things out about other people, other cultures is just really exciting. And that is one of my other favourite things. I mean, a lot of my favourite trips have perhaps not been so far afield, but I've have a great time when I'm travelling and enjoying, you know, exploration and things that you don't usually do. I think it's something about travelling that is kind of magical, and I wish I'd done more of it in the last few years. I just haven't done very much travelling, particularly in the last kind of 3 or 4 years. I mean, you've had the pandemic, which was one reason, but I haven't done as much of it recently as I would have liked. So travelling is my number 9. My number 8 is the seaside, or I guess just being near the sea. I have lots of fond memories, particularly in my childhood, of being on the beach, playing on the beach, being near the sea. There is just something that's like, whenever I'm near the sea, there's like a mental clear out that happens. So I ever feel like if you've been through a really stressful time, there's nothing more I'd recommend than going to a beach or to the seaside and just maybe sitting by it for as long as you need to just have that mental clear out. Perhaps it's with company, perhaps it's on your own. It doesn't really matter. I think just being, you know, being near the waves rolling in, that sea breeze, having maybe an ice cream or a cup of coffee or something, it's extremely pleasant. You know, it's just a nice thing to do. Can't recommend it highly enough. The seaside is my number 8. Coming in at number 7, I guess, is one that I would say that friends and family know I enjoy this as a sport. A lot of people don't like this sport that don't understand it, and that's cricket. Cricket is my number 7. So I grew up as quite a serious cricket fan, and sadly sort of fell out of love a bit with the sport in my late teenage years for reasons that I just kind of think I took it too seriously myself. I was in clubs that took the game extremely seriously and would yell at you, if you made a mistake and things like that. And, I fell out of love with cricket partly for that reason. But I have deep down always loved watching the game. And really, I remember when I was like 8 years old, watching Shane Warne bowl the ball of the century. When I was about 11 years old, perhaps slightly older than that, actually, I met Nasser Hussain in changing rooms at Essex County Cricket School. My grandfather trialled for Surrey, back I think in the 50s, or certainly a long, long time ago. And he was an absolutely fabulous leg spin bowler that would bowl me out whenever he bowled. I never quite reached his kind of level of talent with cricket, I don't think. But I used to enjoy the game. As I say, I've always, I think, loved watching it. My favourite ever series was the Ashes 2005. What an incredible series that was. If you're a cricket fan, that for me is like the peak of match and sportsmanship and everything else. Just cricket when I was, growing up, I guess I've always loved Test cricket more than the shorter form of the game, but I do still enjoy the short form of the game, as many people do now. It's kind of been more modernised, a bit more like baseball for those of you that don't really understand cricket, know what it is. I feel like the short form of cricket is more like baseball. I enjoy supporting the London Spirit. I've got their cap here. I like supporting the women's game as well in the summers here in England, and fan of London Spirit, fan of Essex. And obviously a fan of England as well when it comes to the Ashes. So number 6 on my list is also quite sporty. It's running. I love running. I really love running, but particularly when I feel fit. I think some of my favourite moments in my life have been when I've been running in events, and I just, feel really comfortable running, and I am in good mode, in good shape for it as well. I think I remember running a 10k in 45 minutes, which was my personal best, and I have never felt better than when I ran that race, fitness-wise. I know for some people that's not very fast, for others it might be fast. For me, it was incredible. It was like 3 minutes faster than I'd run before. I just felt so stoked. I felt just totally pumped. And when you're in the mode of running, and when you're on that runner's high, there is no better feeling than when you're running. And I had metal playlists like In Flames and I think Lamb of God and all these other kind of metal bands, Killswitch probably at that time, were pushing me to run this really fast race, and I've never felt better than when I ran that 10k, perhaps, or at least fitness-wise, I've never felt better than when I ran that 10k in that 45-minute run. As I know lots of people can run it in half an hour and stuff. That's not me, but personally, that was such a great experience that day. My number 5 is British comedy, classic British comedy. I really love stuff like Red Dwarf. I love Only Fools and Horses. I guess this is perhaps more Irish comedy, but Father Ted. I really love Vicar of Dibley growing up. I really, obviously, Dad's Army. Some others do have them. It was one of my favourites when I was a lot younger, watching Michael Crawford, Trying to Drive and things like that. Just, brilliant stuff. So much of my favourite TV, certainly growing up, was British comedy, and still is. If I need a bit of a lift, if I'm feeling miserable, then watching a classic episode of one of those TV series is a good way out of feeling really down. There's just so many great memories I have of watching classic Britcoms growing up. I really love Peep Show as well, actually, from the 2000s. Some really great awkward comedy. And how you do awkward comedy well. I thought David Mitchell was just so good at sort of capturing that. If you're not familiar with Peep Show, it was kind of done from a first-person point of view. The sort of, you were looking through the eyes of somebody and their day-to-day experiences, and it was kind of taking aim, I think, at the trivialities of day-to-day experiences with, people around you, and I guess, lots of people talk about how these comedies haven't aged well now, but, you also need to be able to laugh at things in life, otherwise, you can get too serious about things, and you need to be able to laugh at things as well. Otherwise, it's just, what's the point almost of living if you can't laugh at certain things in life. So at number 4, we have got another love of mine, which is independent films. Now, I have talked about independent films on the channel before, not very often. I do intend to talk about them more, actually, maybe in the future. I'm a big fan of independent films, love going to the BFI Film Festival, which is usually about the autumn here every year. And I have gotten more and more into them in about the last 10 years. If there's an opportunity to see an independent film that I am kind of interested in, that sounds interesting, perhaps by a director that I really like, then I love going out and seeing an independent film, or watching, streaming one maybe online. There's something that I find, you might get something more unique or interesting out of than you would a regular kind of Hollywood or big studio type of film. So I've really enjoyed getting into indie films more and more as time's gone by. My number 3, I think we're up to number 3 now, is 90s sci-fi. And it holds a special place in my heart. I just feel like the 90s was just a great era for really, really good sci-fi TV series in particular. I have memories of watching the different Star Trek series with my parents when I was very, very young. I remember watching this series called Sliders, which was absolutely awesome. I remember watching Stargate SG-1, which is one of my all-time favourites sci-fi TV series. I mean, just absolutely fantastic sci-fi that I'd get back after school and I'd be watching. You just have such a great TV schedule that you just don't get now. You just don't get, great sci-fi TV series for me so much now. But in the 90s, you had absolute gold standard sci-fi, and I'm not just talking about the Star Trek TV series like Deep Space Nine, Voyager, all those kind of things. I loved a lot of other things as well. I think Space Precinct I used to really enjoy, Sliders, Stargate SG-1, and lots of others as well. I guess Buffy the Vampire Slayer, if you can throw that in as well. I used to enjoy, used to fancy Sarah Michelle Gellar a lot back in the day. A lot of guys did, I think. And yeah, it was all of that kind of thing I used to really enjoy watching in the 90s, and still has a special place close to my heart. Very high at number 3, because I think that kind of interest and that love of watching sci-fi it has continued throughout my life for a very, very long time, since a very, very young age. So that's why it's as high up as it is at number 3. Number 2 is cats. So I think Pete Pardo said dogs as maybe his number 1, actually. I really love cats. I'm actually a cats person, really. I know a lot of people also don't like cats as well. Cats, I love them because they don't take no BS from anybody. They just do what they want to do. They won't be pushed around or bossed around by anybody else. That's kind of what I love about them. I had a cat for a long time called Jessica, who was a tabby cat, and she was absolutely hilarious. She was very feisty as well. You get to know their habits, and they love sitting in shoeboxes and stuff, and sitting in places they shouldn't sit. Like, she used to always sit on my dad's favourite plants, and it used to really upset him a lot. She was the right mischief, but she was just absolutely awesome as well. And God, she must have passed away. How long has it been? Probably 15 years since she passed away, a long time ago. But yeah, I haven't actually had a cat since, and I kind of would love to have another cat. They are just great company. They're hilarious, I think, to be around. So yeah, cats, my number 2. And whenever I see one, I'm like, yeah, there's a cat. My number 1 is an obvious choice, but I couldn't really, it's so obvious, right? Friends and Family, my number 1. And there was these are people that have, helped push you forwards, that have cared about you, that are really important to you, that you want to see, you want to see these people, you want to look out for them as well as them looking out for you. And, without them, I wouldn't be where I am probably, and, there's a lot to thank for friends and family. Very obvious, perhaps a safe choice for number 1, but could it really be anything else for me? It couldn't. So, friends and fam, are my number one. Above Cats, 90s sci-fi, indie films, Brit coms, running, cricket, the seaside, Norway, or travelling I should say, but Norway is one of my favourite experiences, and dancing at number 10, the unexpected one, maybe on this list. Thanks everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to drop a like and a sub as always, but you know, feel free to join in on these. It seems like there are more and more numbers of people doing sort of the top 10 random things and top 10 random things that you hate, as well as things that you love. So whatever angle you want to take, feel free to take this and run with it. Until next time, from me, bye for now.